episode 79 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. My name is Bill Pivets. So this week, right off the bat, it was a much better episode than last week and the week before. We had a lot of the big name guys on there. Some good matches, too. Bobby Roode versus No Way Jose was the advertised match we got from last week. The show opened with Samoa Joe. He was actually pretty much pandering to the crowd-ish in this promo. He actually seemed humble, but I'll get to how that changed later on. He said that a loss can reflect on who you actually are as a person, and he said he's man enough to admit he was wrong and made a lot of mistakes. He said he was a disgrace as champion, but he doesn't have any regrets because he did want to be champion and would do everything he could to get the title. He then invited Nakamura to the ring. He addressed him. He said that they went to war at the biggest NXT show in Brooklyn. He realized Nakamura is now a deserving contender and worthy champion. And Joe said that as soon as he's healthy, he wants his rematch. Nakamura questioned the rematch. He pondered a little bit. Joe was getting a little furious, and he said, "You're on." Joe thought about leaving the ring, turned around, put his hand out for a handshake. Nakamura was a little hesitant, but he eventually shook his hand, and Joe left. As Nakamura was walking up the ramp, though, Samoa Joe would attack him from behind, threw him into the steel steps, and then pretty much rock-bottomed him onto the bottom half of the steps before walking back. Nakamura was taken away on a gurney. William Regal and Corey Graves, for some reason, checked in on him. And when they got him up on the stretcher, one of the refs placed his NXT title across his legs. For some reason, you couldn't just carry the title back with you. I don't think he's allowed to bring the NXT title to the hospital with him. So that was pretty funny. But as far as the segment, it was really good. Joe, like I said, I think he was a little too babyface-ish in the opening part, but he immediately got his heat back with the attack on Nakamura afterwards. Nakamura didn't talk much at all. Did what Nakamura does, pandered to the crowd a little bit, got into his opponent's head. They don't have a timetable for this rematch, which is good, because I think it'll let the crowd and the commentators build up on this, how big it will be. He might not even be ready for the next TakeOver special in November, the day before Survivor Series. So maybe Bobby Roode versus Nakamura would be the placeholder. But even if he is ready in 2 months, I don't think that would be a bad rematch to have down the line. I liked it a lot. I'm not a fan of talking segments for the most part, opening the show, but this one didn't take too long, and it was very effective. Back from the commercial break, a somber Tom Phillips welcomed us. He was rejoined by Corey Graves. They replayed the attack, and Regal was furiously looking for Joe. He made it to the parking lot, and then Joe just sped off in like a SUV out of the parking lot. Pretty funny. Joe was like leaning out the window. He wasn't driving. He was in the passenger seat, but he was leaning out the window, and he said something to Regal as he drove by. Back into the arena, Liv Morgan versus Rachel Fazio was the first match. Morgan did like the Trish Stratus Matrix bend, dodging a clothesline, but Fazio took her to the corner and landed some shoulder blocks. Crowd was pretty much quiet, except for like a couple of fans here and there. But it was very quiet throughout the match. Liv caught Rachel with a headlock and then rolled over into like a guillotine choke and made her tap out. Really nothing here. Didn't care about the match. Fans don't care. Very paint by numbers. They telegraphed a little bit of what they were going to do. But afterwards, Liv cut a promo. She said that the NXT Women's Division has been cleared out and there's no one to fight for the title. Ain't that the truth? She said that she wants to fight and wants to be the next NXT Women's Champion, and she wants Asuka. The crowd cheered, but then immediately began a "Asuka's gonna kill you" chant as she left. Decent promo. I really don't see this headlining a TakeOver event. Maybe it'll take place on NXT TV in a couple weeks. But Liv Morgan's really nothing. There's really no deeper character development other than that she's from New Jersey. We got yet another Sanity vignette, and the second match was Drew Gulak of the Cruiserweight Classic versus Hideo Itami. Into the match at this point, Hideo got slapped hard across the face. Hideo then returned the favor and landed 2 running knees to the gut. And I'll say this every time, that scar on Hideo's shoulder is nasty. It was a deep scar. Gulak landed a dropkick off the ropes and took control. He then slapped Hideo some more, but he hulked up, connected with his kicks to the chest and the head. He then hit the hesitation dropkick in the corner and won with the GTS. Very hard-hitting match. It was actually very entertaining in the process, too. They really didn't hold back at all. There were some welts, there were some scars. Drew Gulak is good, but I don't really see anything special in his character. There's really nothing to grasp onto as a character in NXT. Having Hideo use the GTS is the best thing that actually happened to him. Other than that, his promos are alright. His in-ring work is great, but his other finisher was iffy at best. So having him use the GTS is amazing. The crowd pops for it every time. I was expecting something from Austin Aries, either during or after the match, but we don't need it. They're kind of building to that match already with the promo that happened last week, so they can wait until next week to pick up where they left off. Third match, Authors of Pain versus Doug Sessa and some other jobber that didn't get a name. As I mentioned, I think last week or the week before, the Authors of Pain now have names. Akam and Rezar. And Akam is the tattooed one. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I have no idea. Sessa slapped both Authors of Pain, but it didn't end well for him. His partner tried running away, but Akam grabbed him and then slammed him down. They then hit the assisted powerbomb on him before hitting Doug Sessa with their leg sweep running clothesline finisher. Vicious match, obviously a squash match with these two. Reminds me of what they did with 3 Minute Warning back in the day. Just two big guys demolishing everyone in their path. I honestly really have nothing else to say about these two until they kind of develop some sort of storyline or give us more information about them. Paul Ellering really hasn't said much, so we're kind of left with what we've got so far. Ty Dillinger was interviewed backstage about how his summer went. He said it was more down than up, but he won in Brooklyn and he won on NXT TV, and things are changing. There's no need to question if he's a 9.5 or, God forbid, a 9. He will always be a perfect 10. We then got into our main event of No Way Jose versus Bobby Roode. During Roode's entrance, he was on this rotating platform, spun him around a couple times. I really want to know what he feels and what he's thinking when the crowd is singing word for word his song. That just seems like a cool moment, just knowing that the NXT fans latched onto him so quickly, whether it's him or the song, who knows, but they just bought into his character right away, and I don't know, it's just gonna put a smile on your face knowing that he came from TNA with possibly some hesitation on how the crowd was going to perceive him, how WWE would. So I think it's a really cool moment that the crowd is behind him, at least his song. Roode had the upper hand in the early going. Jose came back with a diving axe smash from the apron to the outside, which then led to the first commercial break. Back from that, Joe kicked him in the jaw. Roode caught him off the ropes with a huge spine buster, and they went back and forth for a little bit, each hitting some signature moves. Jose landed a airplane spin into a cutter for a near fall. He then went into the corner to wind up for his double hand punch, but Roode ducked it, landed a neck breaker, and then connected with a jumping DDT to get the win. Very similar to Edge's Impaler that he did back in the day. And I guess that's his finisher. I do like it more than the pump handle drop that he used at Brooklyn. Good TV main event. A lot of back and forth action. No Way Jose really doesn't lose much in the match, and Bobby Roode continues to shine. And some correlation that I noticed is that Jose and Andrade Cien Almas both lost to Roode and Aries. So I'm not sure if they're going to put those four in a tag team match. Are we actually going to see Roode and Aries team up in NXT? Because if they do, that will be awesome. I hope I'm not hyping myself and hyping you guys up for something that possibly won't happen. So I please forgive me. But I would love to see these two team up. NXT can definitely use them as a team if they're not going to put either man in the title picture for right now. Especially with NXT being in Toronto for TakeOver in a couple months. Having that as a tag team match for TakeOver would be pretty amazing. Like I said in Roode's entrance, I do like how they're pushing the TNA stars. There's really no pettiness or stupid gimmicks that they're giving him. Samoa Joe was a vicious champion, and he's going to be vicious when he comes back. Austin Aries is pretty much the number 3 heel on the roster. Bobby Roode, number 2. They're giving these guys upper mid-card for those two, and then main event level pushes, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they made the jump to NXT, and it's working out for them. And obviously, you see what's happening with AJ Styles on the main roster. He's the SmackDown WWE champion. Granted, it's a little hokey with what they're doing with Gallows and Anderson. That's another story. Having these 4 TNA guys come in and be at pretty much the top half of the roster, it's pretty amazing. And like I said, I'm very happy for them that it's working out for them. Overall, pretty good show. Much better than the last couple weeks. Opening segment was amazing. Didn't really care for either the women's match or the Authors of Pain match. The Hideo Itami Drew Gulak match was hard-hitting in a good way. And the main event was a good TV main event. I liked it. I don't remember hearing anything about what's advertised for next week, so we're kind of going in blind. I think it might be a new set of tapings, considering we got 3 out of the way already. But we got 2 months until the next takeover, so there's going to be a couple of low weeks as they get ready to build that card up. probably October-ish until the event in November. But that's all I got for you this week. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Follow me on Twitter at @bpiv_sports. Rate, review the show. Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, wherever else you guys listen to it. Be greatly appreciated. I'll be back same time, same place next week. Peace.